need you. Ooh, I love you. I do need you.
Hello, my name is Kix. Today we are doing Prosperity SMP versus Hermitcraft versus Dream Team SMP versus Sci-Craft versus X-Life. Who will win? In the Hunger Games, so Prosperity SMP, we have Kix, Arkham Cookie, Astrion, Sheev, Skyders, Agilix, Godridme, Kinematic, Pinto, Matty, Retro Jello, Sylar, Laser 10, and Zogog. In Hermitcraft we have BOO, Cubfan, Doc, Etho, Full Symmetry, Scar, Grian, Hypno, Jevin, Impulse, Iskel, Joe Hills, Corrales, Mumbo, Rendog, Stress Monster, Tango, TFC, Vintage Beef, Wells Knight, XP Crafted, Izuma, Zedaf, and Zombie. In Dream Team SMP we have Dream, George, Sapnap, Bad Boy Halo, Callahan, Alyssa, Punk, Tommy, Tubbo, Puns, Fundy, Purple, Skeppy, J-Schlatt, Bulba, Eric, Thunder, Mewtwo, and Quackity. In Sci-Craft we have Tab Twice, Ilmango, XCOM, Machine, Panic, Norwegian, Manny, Masadi, Helga, Sky Rising, Freestyle Fox, Robotic Warfare, Ragu, and Alanofa. And in X-Life we have Dang That's a Long Name, Whip, Jack Sucks at Life, Joey, Catherine, Lauren, Aldi Shadow Lady, Popular MMOs, CPK, Shubble, Siren, Smallish Beans, Solidarity, Strawberry, and Orion. Who do you think is going to win? I think I will win. So, if we proceed, as the tributes stand on their podiums, the horn sounds. Arkham Cookie runs away. XCOM and CPK fight for a bag. CPK gives up and retreats. Astrion runs away. Sky Rising runs away. Grian stays at the Cornucopia for resources. Corrales clutches a first aid kit and runs away. Dream clutches a first aid kit and runs away. Jevin runs away. Smallish Beans and Callahan fight for a bag. Smallish Beans gives up and retreats. Lauren runs away. Joey grabs a backpack and retreats. Ponk runs away. Ragu finds a bow, some arrows, and a quiver. Freestyle Fox runs away. Iskel stabs Zombie Cleo in the back with a trident. First death is Zombie. Popular MMOs runs away. Whip runs away. J-Schlatt decapitates XP Crafted with a sword. Strawberry runs away. BOO receives a trident from inside the Cornucopia. Shubble takes a handful of throwing knives. Wilbur runs away. Etho runs away. Quackity runs away. Jack Sucks at Life runs into the Cornucopia and hides. Tommy runs away. Sylar takes a sickle from inside the Cornucopia. Fundy runs away. Tab Twice finds a bag full of explosives. Hypno, Skyders, and Zogog get into a fight. Skyders triumphantly kills them both. Laser runs away. Siren runs away. Kinematic grabs a shovel. TFC runs away. Alanofa and Vintage Beef spears Vintage Beef in the abdomen. Mango takes a sickle from inside the Cornucopia. Kix runs away. Doc runs away. Masadi runs away. Sheev runs away. Tango snatches a bottle of alcohol and a rag for a Molotov. Dang That's a Long Name runs away. Mewtwo runs away with a lighter and some rope. Godridme finds a canteen full of water. Wells Knight runs away. Pinto takes a handful of throwing knives. Rendog runs away. Thunder runs away. Alyssa runs away. Skeppy runs away. Manny runs away. Joe Hills runs away. Robotic Warfare runs away. Mumbo Jumbo grabs a spoon. Orion, Purpled, Eric, and Catherine share everything they gathered before running. Cub, George, and LD Shadow Lady work together to get as many supplies as possible. Scar runs into the Cornucopia and hides. Sapnap runs away. Izuma runs away. Machine runs away. Zedaf runs away. Bad Boy Halo runs away. Agelix runs away. Stress Monster runs away from the cornucopia. Matty rips a mace out of Impulse's hands. Helga stabs Full Symmetry with a tree branch. One of the favourites, Full Symmetry, is already out. Tubbo runs away. Huns runs away. Panic stays at the cornucopia for resources. Solidarity, Retro Jello, and Norwegian work together to get as many supplies as possible. Day 1. Panic collects fruit from a tree. Robotic Warfare and BOO hunt for other tributes. Dream receives an explosive from an unknown sponsor. Matty discovers a river. Sapnap overhears Audi, Shadow Lady, and Smallish Beans talking in the distance. Kinematic makes a slingshot. Rendog is pricked by thorns while picking berries. Niachu kills Catherine with a hatchet. Shubble receives medical supplies from an unknown sponsor. Tubbo is pricked by thorns while picking berries. Alanofa explores the arena. Skyders sprains his ankle while running away from Tab twice. Tommy searches for a water source. Sheev begs for Ragu to kill him. He refuses, keeping Sheev alive. Skeppy, Skyrising, Whip, and Quackity raid Jack Sucks at Life's camp while he is hunting. Arkham Cookie attacks Bad Boy Halo, but he manages to escape. Cubfan chases Mumbo. Manny picks flowers. TFC collects fruit from a tree. Norwegian, Joe Hills, and Impulse hunts for other tributes. Izuba fishes. Popular MMOs tries to sleep through the entire day. Strawberry receives a hatchet from an unknown sponsor. Puns receives fresh food from an unknown sponsor. Orion picks flowers. Solidarity tries to sleep through the entire day. Freestyle Fox explores the arena. George receives a hatchet from an unknown sponsor. Helga and Grian work together for the day. Laser stalks Corrales. Stress Monster travels to higher ground. Pinto, Fundy, and Tango get into a fight. Fundy triumphantly kills them both. Joey discovers a river. Iskall, Alyssa, and Kix get into a fight. Alyssa triumphantly kills them both. No, I'm dead. Thunder trap kills J-Schlatt. Adelix and CPK split up to search for resources. Retro Jello constructs a shack. Bulba searches for firewood. Machine practices his archery. Scar, Ashtrian, Punk, Lauren, and Jevin hunt for other tributes. Purple travels to higher ground. Silas stabs Callahan while his back is turned. Wells Knight makes a wooden spear. Masadi goes hunting. Mango thinks about home. XCOM explores the arena. Siren injures herself. Eric fishes. Doc receives an explosive from an unknown sponsor. God Rid Me overhears Etho and Zedaf talking in the distance. Dang, that's a long name, hunts for other tributes. 13 cannon shots can be heard. Zombie Cleo, XB Crafted, Hypnotized, Zogog, Vintage Beef, Full Symmetry, Catherine, Pinto, Tango, Iskall, Kix, J-Schlatt, and Callahan. Night 1. BOO catches popular MMOs off guard and kills him. Dang, that's a long name receives a hatchet from an unknown sponsor. Kinematic questions his sanity. Freestyle Fox cries himself to sleep. Mango severely injures XCOM and leaves him to die. Thunder and Agelix sleep in shifts. Ponk and Norwegian huddle for warmth. Rendog starts a fire. Skeppy tries to sink himself to sleep. Ether receives an explosive from an unknown sponsor. George tries to sink himself to sleep. Robotic Warfare loses sight of where he is. Siler, Scar, Stress, Wells Knight, and Ashtrian sleep in shifts. Matty receives medical supplies from an unknown sponsor. Niachu thinks about home. Smallish Bees and Helga defeats Helga in a fight but spares his life. Duck starts a fire. Bad Boy Halo stays awake all night. Machine sees a fire but stays hidden. Solidarity and Alanofa talk about the tribute still alive. Siren sets up camp for the night. Strawberry tends to tab twice his wounds. Skyders, CBK, Bulba, and Dream sleep in shifts. Jack Sucks at Life and Sheev talk about the tribute still alive. Joey questions his sanity. Aldi, Shadow Lady, Purple, Sapnap, Green, and Alyssa sleep in shifts. TFC receives clean water from an unknown sponsor. Jevin tries to sing himself to sleep. Tubbo quietly hums. Eric looks at the night sky. Whip receives a hatchet from an unknown sponsor. Izuma and Panic huddle for warmth. Godridney and Orion tell stories about themselves to each other. Retro Jello and Corrales tell stories about themselves to each other. Shubble and Manny sleep in shifts. Lauren looks at the sky. Zedaf defeats Puns in a fight that spares his life. Mumbo screams for help. Crackety lets Tommy into his shelter. Ark and Cookie is unable to start a fire and sleeps without warmth. Impulse receives an explosive from an unknown sponsor. Masadi climbs a tree to rest. Ragu and Cubfan talk about the tribute still alive. Joe Hills tries to treat his infection. Laser 10, Sky Rising and Funny discuss the games and what might happen in the morning. Oh. Day 2. CPK chases Corrales. Helga makes a wooden spear. Panic searches for firewood. Sky Rising and Orion work together for the day. Bad Boy Halo, Ark and Cookie and Strawberry get into a fight. Strawberry triumphantly kills them both. Kinematic kills Cubfan with a sickle. Laser sets an explosives off, killing Dream, Sapnap and Scar. Laser with a triple kill. Siren and Grian work together to drown Azuma. Godridney scares Mumbo off. Omango severely slices TFC with a sword. Etho scares Machine off. Rendog constructs a shack. Wilbur collects fruit from a tree. Sylar questions his sanity. Jevin, BOO, and Nihachu get into a fight. Nihachu triumphantly kills them both. Purple constructs a shack. Joey overhears Quackity and Whip talking in the distance. Sheev injures himself. Punk overhears Impulse and Retro Jello talking in the distance. Robotic Warfare and Zedaf split up to search for resources. Tommy chases Puns. Tubbo shoots an arrow into Doc's head. Aldi Shadow Lady explores the arena. Ragu explores the arena. Smallish Beans, Alyssa, Lauren, Skeppy, and Alanofa hunt for other tributes. Joe Hills tries to spear fish with a trident. Eret and Dang That's a Wrong Name hunt for other tributes. Tab Twice and Fundy work together for the day. Shubble, Adelix, Wells Knight, and Norwegian hunt for other tributes. Freestyle Fox and Solidarity hunt for other tributes. George travels to higher ground. Manny spears Stressmonster in the abdomen. Matty and Masadi hunt for other tributes. Thunder injures himself. Jack sucks at life practices his archery. Skyders makes a slingshot. Astrian dies trying to escape the arena. 15 cannon shots can be heard. Popular MMOs, XCOM, Bad Boy Halo, Ark and Cookie, Cubfan, Dream, Sapnap, Star, Izuma, TFC, Jevin, BOO, Doc, Stress, and Astrian. Night 2. Impulse cries himself to sleep. Matty receives fresh food from an unknown sponsor. Smallish Beans and Thunder run into each other and decide to truce for the night. Sky Rising looks at the night sky. Laser climbs a tree to rest. Wells Knight thinks about winning. Lauren receives clean water from an unknown sponsor. Corrales destroys Skeppy's supplies while he is asleep. Rian and Aldelix fight Whip and Robotic Warfare. Whip and Robotic Warfare survive. Norwegian stays awake all night. Orion sets up the camp for the night. Purple starts a fire. Tommy receives fresh food from an unknown sponsor. Tubbo cooks his food before putting his fire out. Wilbur screams for help. Eric thinks about winning. Strawberry pushes Sheev off a cliff during a knife fight. Freestyle Fox starts a fire. Shubble looks at the night sky. Punk and Jack sucks at life run into each other and decide to truce for the night. Mango dies from an infection. Joey falls into a frozen lake and drowns. Masadi tends to his wounds. Skyders receives medical supplies from an unknown sponsor. George tends to his wounds. Quackity sees a fire but stays hidden. Godridney receives medical supplies from an unknown sponsor. Huns is awoken by nightmares. Sylar and Panic hold hands. Nihachu tries to sing herself to sleep. Rendog defeats Fundy in a fight but spares his life. Dang, that's a long name, and CPK hold hands. Siren and Machine run into each other and decide to choose for the night. Retro Jello and Alanofa hold hands. Ragu starts a fire. Solidarity and Etho tell stories about themselves to each other. Kinematic receives fresh fruit from an unknown sponsor. Zedaf tries to sing himself to sleep. Aldi Shadow Lady taints Mumbo's food, killing him. Manny loses sight of where he is. Tab Twice is unable to start a fire and sleeps without warmth. Helga cooks his food before putting his fire out. Alyssa sets up camp for the night. And Joe Hills receives a hatchet from an unknown sponsor. Day 3. Wilbur questions his sanity. Siren receives an explosive from an unknown sponsor. George picks flowers. Dang, that's a long name, searches for firewood. Orion collects fruit from a tree. Tubbo severely injures Shubble and leaves him to die. Impulse makes a wooden spear. Alanofa receives a hatchet from an unknown sponsor. CVK and Machine work together for the day. Rouse Knight begs for Rendog to kill him. He refuses, keeping Rouse Knight alive. Puns runs away from Panic. Kinematic and Strawberry split up to search for resources. Zedaf travels to higher ground. Joe Hills receives an explosive from an unknown sponsor. Skyders explores the arena. Tab Twice hunts for other tributes. Skeppy, Error, Purpled, Retro Jello, and Nihachu hunt for other tributes. Fundy and Masadi hunt for other tributes. Solidarity stabs Alyssa while her back is turned. Ragu receives an explosive from an unknown sponsor. Sylar dies from an infection. Norwegian searches for firewood. Thunder makes a wooden spear. Freestyle Fox and Corrales split up to search for resources. Manny camouflages himself in the bushes. Quackity overhears Shadow Lady and Lauren talking in the distance. Helga is pricked by thorns while picking berries. Ponk tends to sky rising spoons. Whip diverts Jack's attention and runs away. Smallish Beans picks flowers. God Ridney steals from Matty while he isn't looking. Robotic Warfare constructs a shack. Laser scares Tommy off. Etho receives medical supplies from an unknown sponsor. 9 cannon shots can be heard in the distance. Grian, Adelix, Sheev, Ilmango, Joey, Mumbo, Shubble, Alyssa, and Sylar. So Prosperity have Skyders, Godridney, Kinematic, Matty, Retro, and Laser still alive. Laser has 3 kills. Hermitcraft have Etho, Impulse, Joe, Corrales, Rendog, Zedaf still alive. None of them have any kills. Dream Team have George, Ponk, Tommy, Tubbo, Puns, Fundy, Purple, Skeppy, Wilbur, Eric, Thunder, Nihachu, and Quackity still alive. Nihachu has 3 kills. Sci-Craft has Tab Twice, Machine, Panic, Norwegian, Manny, Masadi, Helga, Sky Rising, Freestyle Fox, Robotic Warfare, Vagu, and Alanofa still alive. Robotic Warfare with 2 kills. X-Life has, and that's a long name, Whip, Jack, Lauren, Shadow Lady, CPK, Siren, Smallish Bean, Solidarity, Strawberry, and Orion still alive, and Strawberry with 3 kills. Alanofa tends to kinematic swoons. Quackity, Corrales, and Puns discuss the games and what might happen in the morning. Retro Jello stays awake all night. Siren kills Helga with his own weapon. Eric questions his sanity. Manny receives medical supplies from an unknown sponsor. Orion begs for Sky Rising to kill him. He refuses, keeping Orion alive. Skyders thinks about home. Tommy bashes Strawberry's head in with a mace. Zedaf, Thunder, and Tab Twice unsuccessfully ambush Etho, Panic, and CPK, who kill them instead. Ragu cooks his food before putting his fire out. Purple and Skeppy huddle for warmth. Solidarity convinces Robotic Warfare to snuggle with him. Shadow Lady passes out from exhaustion. Nihachu cries herself to sleep. Impulse, Tubbo, and Dang That's a Long Name track down and kill Rendog. Smallish Beans fends Freestyle, Fox, Lawrence, and Matty away from his fire. Norwegian receives a hatchet from an unknown sponsor. Machine and Joe Hills hold hands. Wilbur and Wells Knight talk about the tribute still alive. Laser stays awake all night. George tends to Jack's wounds. Godwitney, Ponk, Whip, and Masadi sleep in shifts, and Fundy cries himself to sleep. Day 4. Jack, Smallish Beans, Lauren, and Kinematic raid Siren's camp while she is hunting. Joe Hills hunts for other tributes. Laser tries to spear Fish with a trident. Sky Rising receives medical supplies from an unknown sponsor. Ragu receives a hatchet from an unknown sponsor. Tubbo, Machine, Godwitney, and Skyders raid Orion's camp while he is hunting. Wells Knight discovers a river. Purple sprains his ankle while running away from Wilbur. Solidarity camouflages himself in the bushes. Masadi tries to sleep through the entire day. Quackity, Ponk, and Fundy hunt for other tributes. Whip practices his archery. Norwegian receives a hatchet from an unknown sponsor. Eric camouflages himself in the bushes. Alanofa explores the arena. George and Panic hunt for other tributes. CPK receives an explosive from an unknown sponsor. Skeppy, Owly, Shadow Lady, Impulse, and Etho hunt for other tributes. Puns thinks about home. Pardon me. Nihachu stalks Manny. Robotic Warfare begs for Tommy to kill him. He refuses, keeping Robotic Warfare alive, and Dang That's a Long Name searches for firewood. I think an arena event is likely quite soon. 6 cannon shots can be heard. Helga, Strawberry, Zedaf, Thunder, Tab Twice, and Rendog. Night 4. Norwegian tends to Skyder's wounds. Whip receives fresh food. Tubbo is unable to start a fire and sneaks without warmth. Fundy begs for Purple to kill him, who refuses, keeping Fundy alive. Godwitney sets up camp for the night. Sky Rising quietly hums. Kinematic and Machine run into each other and decide to truce for the night. Nihachu goes to sleep. Puns starts a fire. Quackity dies trying to escape the arena. Ragu and Impulse work together to drown Solidarity. Manny strangles Orion after engaging in a fistfight. Smallish Beans overpowers Alanofa, killing him. Joe receives fresh food from an unknown sponsor. Dan That's a Long Name sees a fire but stays hidden. CPK receives clean water from an unknown sponsor. Laser and Masadi sleep in shifts. Skeppy, Bellsight, and Eric discuss the games and what might happen in the morning. Etho cooks his food before putting his fire out. Siren, Shadow Lady, Matty, and George sleep in shifts. Lauren is awoken by nightmares. Robotic Warfare, Retro Jello, and Ponk cheerfully sing songs together. Freestyle Fox sets and explosives off, killing Wilbur, Corrales, Panic, and Jack sucks at life. The quadruple kill, and Tommy quietly hums. Day 5. Laser discovers a cave. Joe Hills receives medical supplies from an unknown sponsor. Impulse thinks about home. Machine kills Freestyle Fox with a sickle. Tommy attempts to climb a tree but falls to his death. Dan That's a Long Name overpowers Skyders, killing him. Whip hunts for other tributes. Fundy falls into a pit and dies. Manny injures himself. Lauren strangles Masadi after engaging in a fistfight. Skeppy's trap kills Puns. CPK makes a woolen spear. Tubbo tries to sleep through the entire day. Norwegian dies from hypothermia. Godwitney is pricked by thorns while picking berries. Ponk stalks Eric. Siren receives fresh food. Retro Jello sees smoke rising in the distance but decides not to investigate. Purple tends to Sky Rising's wounds. Etho, Matty, and Shadow Lady start fighting, but Matty runs away as Etho kills Shadow Lady. Ragu, Nihachu, George, Robotic Warfare, and Kinematic hunt for other tributes. Smallish Beans and Wells Knight split up to search for resources. 16 cannon shots can be heard. Quackity, Solidarity, Orion, Alanofa, Wilbur, Karavis, Panic, Jack, Freestyle Fox, Tommy, Skyders, Fundy, Masadi, Pons, Norwegian, and Shadow Lady. Prosperity now have Guard With Me, Kinematic, Matty, Retro, and Laser still alive. Hermitcraft have Etho, Impulse, Joe, Wells Knight. Dream Team have George, Punk, Tubbo, Purple, Skeppy, Eret, and Niachu. And Sci-Craft have Machine, Manny, Skyrising, Robotic Warfare, Ragu. X-Life have, then that's a log name, Whip, CPK, Siren, and Smallish Beans. Night 5, Laser screams for help. Etho looks at the night sky. Siren tends to CPK's wounds. Retro receives medical supplies from an unknown sponsor. Joe Hills questions his sanity. Matty silently snaps God Ridmy's neck. Whip and Purple tuddle for warmth. Eret tries to sing himself to sleep. Punk cooks his food before putting his fire out. Skyrising lets Ragu into his shelter. Manny fends Wells Knight, Lauren, and Dang That's a Long Name away from his fire. Impulse dies from an infection. Niachu lets Smallish Beans into her shelter. George loses sight of where he is. Tubbo thinks about home. Kinematic lets Skeppy into his shelter. Machine cooks his food before putting his fire out. Robotic Warfare dies trying to escape the arena. Day 6. Joe Hills and Smallish Beans hunt for other tributes. Niachu dies from an infection. Skeppy, George, and Whip hunt for other tributes. Siren, Manny, Laser, Lauren, and Purple hunt for other tributes. Etho scares Punk off. Ragu thinks about home. Tubbo hunts for other tributes. CPK attacks Machine, but he manages to escape. Kinematic and Skyrising hunt for other tributes. Matty thinks about home. Wells Knight diverts Dang That's a Long Name attention and runs away. Eret and Retro Jello hunt for other tributes. 4 cannon shots can be heard. God With Me, Impulse, Robotic Warfare, and Niachu. Night 6. Lauren tends to Whip's wounds. Eret is unable to start a fire and sleeps without warmth. Skyrising fends Skeppy, Retro, and Kinematic away from his fire. Pardon me. Wells Knight screams for help. Siren, Joe, and Tubbo sleep in shifts. Punk, Manny, Etho, and Smallish Beans tell each other ghost stories to lighten the mood. Matty thinks about winning. Laser accidentally steps on a landmine. Dang That's a Long Name goes to sleep. Machine receives fresh food. CPK bleeds out due to untreated injuries. Purple cries himself to sleep. Ragu receives medical supplies from an unknown sponsor. George loses sight of where he is. Day 7. George overhears Retro and Punk talking in the distance. Etho constructs a shack. Tubbo tracks down and kills Skeppy. Whip constructs a shack. Siren fishes. Eret thinks about home. Lauren, Matty, Ragu, and Manny hunt for other tributes. Joe Hills discovers a cave. Kinematic makes a slingshot. Wells Knight ambushes Skyrising and kills him. Machine receives clean water from an unknown sponsor. Smallish Beans fishes. Dang That's a Long Name and Purple work together for the day. 4 cannon shots can be heard. Laser, CPK, Skeppy, and Skyrising. Night 7. Kinematic, Matty, and Tubbo sleep in shifts. Eret tries to treat his infection. Dang That's a Long Name strangles Smallish Beans with a rope. George starts a fire. Ragu destroys Purple's supplies while he is asleep. Lauren attempts to start a fire but is unsuccessful. Wells Knight, Whip, Punk, and Joe Hill sleep in shifts. Etho sees a fire but stays hidden. Machine and Manny tell stories about themselves to each other. Retro starts a fire. Siren attempts to start a fire but is unsuccessful. Day 8. George runs away from Manny. Ragu begs for Machine to kill him. He refuses, keeping Ragu alive. Retro questions her sanity. Tubbo and Etho work together for the day. Kinematic, Lauren, Eret, and Purple hunt for other tributes. Whip chases Punk. Siren discovers a river. Joe Hills severely slices Matty with a sword. Wells Knight collects fruit from a tree. Dang, that's a long name, questions his sanity. 2 cannon shots can be heard. Smallish Beans and Matty. Prosperity SMP only have 2 people left, Kinematic and Retro. Hermitcraft only have 3, Etho, Joe, and Wells Knight. Dream Team have 5, George, Punk, Tubbo, Purple, and Eret. Sci-Craft have 5, no, they have 3, Machine, Manny, and Ragu. X-Life have 4, Dan that's a love name, Whip, Lauren, and Siren. Night 8, Siren tries to treat her infection. Whip takes George's food, killing him. Purple quietly hums. Punk tries to treat his infection. Tubbo goes to sleep. Wells Knight sees a fire but stays hidden. Machine takes Etho's food, killing him. Retro Jello receives an explosive from an unknown sponsor. Joe Hills unknowingly eats toxic berries, and I think that's the entirety of Hermitcraft out. Eret finds Lauren, Ragu, and Manny away from his fire. Dang, that's a long name, receives an explosive. Kinematic climbs a tree to rest. Punk stabs Machine in the back with a trident. Wells Knight snaps Siren's neck. There's one Hermitcraft member left. Purple throws a knife into Manny's chest. Kinematic decides not to go to the feast. It's the feast. Yeah. Lauren pushes Ragu off a cliff during a knife fight. Retro decides not to go to the feast. Tubbo decides not to go to the feast. Dang, that's a long name, throws a knife into Eret's head. Whip gathers as much food into a bag as he can before fleeing. Day 9, Tubbo kills Whip as he tries to run. Lauren sprains her ankle while running away from Kinematic. Purple chases Punk. Dang, that's a long name, discovers a cave. Retro Jello and Wells Knight work together for the day. And now there's an arena event. As the arena's border begins to rapidly contract, Purple pushes Lauren into the border while she is not paying attention. Wells Knight survives. Kinematic restrains Tubbo to a tree and leaves him to die. Dan, that's a long name, survives. Punk restrains Retro Jello to a tree and leaves her to die. 12 cannon shots can be heard. George, Etho, Joe Hills, Machine, Siren, Manny, Ragu, Eret, Whip, Lauren, Tubbo, and Retro. Prosperity SMP only have 1 member left, that's Kinematic. Hermitcraft have 1 member left, that's Wells Knight. Dream Team SMP have 2 members left, Punk and Purple. Sci-Craft are wiped out. X-Life have 1 member left, and that's Dang, that's a long name. Dang, that's a long name, goes to sleep in night 9. Punk and Wells Knight huddle for warmth. Purple convinces Kinematic to snuggle with him. Day 10. Dang, that's a long name, sets an explosives off, killing Kinematic, and that's Prosperity SMP wiped out. Wells Knight sees smoke rising in the distance but decides not to investigate. Purple's trap kills Punk. 2 cannon shots can be heard, Kinematic and Punk. Purple and Wells Knight sleep in shifts. Dang, that's a long name, tries to treat his infection. Dang, that's a long name, kills Wells Knight with a hatchet. Purple and Dang, that's a long name, threatens suicide. They survive and win. The winners are Purple and from Dream Team and Dang, that's a long name from X-Life. So 2 people won, Dream Team and X-Life. The most kills was Dang, that's a long name. Sci-Craft came fourth, Prosperity SMP third, Hermitcraft second, Dream Team and X-Life joint first. Well, there we go. Dream Team versus X-Life versus Hermitcraft versus Prosperity versus Sci-Craft, and Dream Team and X-Life both win. Pardon me, I have been Kix. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.